91% of customers would give a referral. Only 11% of sales reps are asking for it. And I think it's 84% of B2B purchasing decisions are starting with a referral today. We know that it is actually something that we should put much more focus on.
What would you say are the 3 tasks that everyone can do today to change their referral game?
First one is doing it. Sit down and think, who are the people most likely able to help me? I would make a list of those. We spoke about that. The second thing is make a list of people that you want to speak to. Who's your ICP? Who is the person that you actually want to get in touch with? And take a look at mutual connections that you have to those people. Schedule a call with people that are able to help you get introductions to other people that are most likely willing to refer you. And then write a little script. What do I want from them? How can they actually help me? Most people are going to say yes. I take a bet personally that nobody is going to say no.
What are common challenges and what should they do to overcome that?
The biggest mistake is that we probably just ask once and then we never speak to them again. If you want to make an introduction to someone, it's my responsibility to make it as easy as possible for you, which means I'm going to write text for you that you can of course adapt in your own wording and make it easy for the other person to connect to me as well.
Thank you so much for listening to the first ever English sales podcast for the German-speaking market. Before we continue, I want to make you a promise. I promise that with this show, I will do my utmost best to bring in the guests and share the stories that help you succeed in the DACH market. But I can only do so much. So, if you hit the subscribe button, I can get more guests, bigger stories, and better insights to help you succeed in your sales job. So, with no further ado, sit back, relax, and let the show begin. Chris, when did you realize that referrals are a game changer when it comes to sales?
I think I was lucky enough to learn this very early, basically when I made my first deal. I actually still remember it because I was probably 19 and I was in financial advising. And my first customer basically signed the contract and you're already hyped and excited. And it's like, wow, amazing. That was easy. And basically thought we shake hands, he leaves and that's it. But I had a mentor at the time who just started a conversation about, hey, by the way, there's one more important thing. And this was the first time I saw live how to basically ask for referrals, and that is a no-brainer to use or utilize your personal network to get in touch with new contacts and new connections. And years later, when I moved into software sales, I figured out that nobody else basically asks for referrals, or almost nobody does it. And at this time, I think I just started, and my manager at the time, he just left the company. So I was basically there in a new team without a head of sales, trying to ramp myself, and all the major accounts were basically claimed by someone. I asked myself, hey, what were the things that worked for you when you started in sales and when you became successful in selling finance products? And referrals was the one thing. And so I tested it, adapted a few things, and realized it's actually working as well. And at this time, I think the main difference was that by leveraging outbound methods, just like sending emails and cold calling, was still working. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I realize, at least with most companies that I speak to, well, open rates are declining, response rates are declining, even call connect rates are declining. It's harder to get in front of your audience. And we need to find new ways. And so asking for referrals kind of became a must-have from a nice-to-have. And if we look at data and reports, then we can also see the same thing. So I think there was a Dale Carnegie study which said, it's my favorite numbers that I always quote in every training, that 91% of customers would give a referral. Only 11% of sales reps are asking for it. So we can already see there's a huge gap. And if we notice that, I think it's 84% of B2B purchasing decisions are starting with a referral today. We know that it is actually something that we should put much more focus on.
I love that. I love that you because I remember those numbers when you did a masterclass, right? When you did your masterclass about referrals, which I also link underneath here in the notes. You mentioned so many numbers, and I was stunned. I was standing behind the camera, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" This is why I wanted to have you on the show, because I feel like people don't really understand the importance of referrals and how you can actually make your life so much easier. I even right now think I should actually ask our customers right now for a referral. I haven't done that in a long time. What is it that keeps us from it? Why do we not just think about that? What do you think? Is it like a mindset thing, or what is keeping us from asking for referrals?
I think it's on a few layers. One is awareness, and that's also a leadership topic because when you start in sales today, who's responsible for your onboarding? It is your leader, and your leader is coming from a world where outbound methods were still working. And
Mm,
so also our leaders today are kind of, and a note for myself because I was asked to do it as well, to basically glorify scorekeeping by just hitting KPI numbers.
mm,
And instead of pausing for a second and thinking about, hey, what's working and what's not working, what should we
mm,
change? We try to do more of something which is still at least converting with like a 1 to 3% conversion instead of thinking about, hey, how can we actually get back to much, much higher conversion rates? And when you use referrals, you get a response rate of 90 to 100%,
mm,
don't say 100, but let's say 90%
mm.
within 2, 3 touch points versus
Yeah,
no response after 20. I don't know how much the
yeah,
average sequence has today. So that's the one part is awareness and knowing about it. The second is it feels probably like a lot to ask for help and
mm,
to ask for a referral because, and I remember it when I started in sales. I also had the wrong mindset. Like I was not doing this for really helping the customer. This mindset shift happened a few years later when things didn't work out that well. But it felt like a lot to ask for a deal. And I also realized today for many sellers, it feels like a lot. Like, hey, I already asked for the deal. He already does me a favor. Whoa. So,
mm,
right? And that mindset is a big, big hurdle, I think, for most people because, hey, it's the opposite. We are helping someone solving a big, big problem that they have. Otherwise, they would not become a customer of ours.
yeah,
Meaning, referrals should be the most common thing. And if we look into our personal life, it is the exact same thing. We're living in a referral society.
yeah,
Referrals are happening all the time.
yeah.
Like, I mean, you were into acting, or you still are.
Mm.
What was the last time you went to the movies? What was the last movie you've seen?
Oh my goodness, I should know that. I don't have time. I'm working in sales now, Chris. The last movie I've seen, the last movie I've seen, I want to say was Mission Impossible, but I know there was another one that I watched after, the new Mission Impossible, which I actually, I'm not gonna give my opinion. Everyone should go and watch it themselves. Yeah.
Fair enough. But if we were not in a podcast and there were no spoiler alerts,
Yeah.
I would ask you, hey, Helena, how was it? And you would give a recommendation, and you would probably also say you should go or you should not go. And this is happening to everything we do in our life, from I don't know supplements to activities to restaurants to travel. Right? If I go to London
Mm,
and I haven't been, I know who I'm going to ask. It's going to be you who lives there. It's like, hey, Helena, what should I do? And you're probably going to give me the I don't know 10 most important things to do and the two secret spots where you think you get the best lunch and dinner.
mm,
And it's the same in B2B.
yeah.
So we should be very aware that yeah, sorry, we should be very aware of how to.
How
English is
to
a
do
difficult
it.
language if you're not
Yeah.
native.
No, that's all
Yeah,
right.
you
Take
should
your
simply.
time.
It's fine. I think my point was pretty clear that
Yeah.
also in B2B, it's the most normal thing. If I'm problem aware, I still don't know what the best solution is. Even if I Google and I find, I don't know, 370,000 answers, the next thing I'm going to do is ask someone who had the same problem and solved it. It's like, how did you do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And most likely, I'm going to get a recommendation or referral to someone else that might be able to help me. And so, yeah, I think we should flip that around and leverage the fact that people are willing to help us much more.
So I feel like what's interesting, and that's probably the reason why people don't usually think about that in sales, is if I ask for a referral, like in that case, for instance, you want to come to London, you ask me for a referral to what to do. That's because you have a need and you want a referral. You want to have a recommendation, even like have a recommendation. If I, as a seller, go to our customers and I'm like, I'm not asking for a recommendation, I'm asking you to recommend me. And I feel like that can open up a specific vulnerability, because that's a moment of like, would you recommend us? And it would hurt if you say no, like it would be awkward if you say no. Is that the reason why people don't really do it? Because it's like flipping the coin.
Asking for help on the one side always shows a little bit of vulnerability, and probably for many people feels like a weakness, but it's the opposite. Actually, people are much more likely to help us than we think. The second thing is they are customers of ours, right? Or people. Let's speak about that for a second, who we can ask, but you named customers in particular. If we ask customers, they already bought our product, so there must be some sort of mutual trust that we can help them solve a challenge. And they most likely know people that are connected to people that have the same challenges. So I think, yes, we are just afraid to get a no, but the probability of that is actually quite low. But I want to make a step back from what I just said, because I said customers. In the end, the question is, who can we actually ask, and who can we ask for help? And I think if we look at referrals, we should not treat this as a transaction, and we should not consider asking everybody for a referral. Instead, we should take a look into our business and our personal network. Who are the people most likely going to help us? And then build an individual strategy. And I think, especially, one last sentence, because you just said we are afraid to ask. Well, in the end, why are we afraid to ask? If you get that feedback that someone would not recommend us, just say that would happen, which doesn't. That is very important feedback for us, because that means we have something in our buyer journey that we should probably improve.
Like, even if you ask someone, would you refer us? And they say, actually, no, that is such a good data point. That's such a good thing to know. Yeah, I 100% agree. So with the strategy that you
It's
just
actually funny that we, sorry, just one thought. It's actually funny because we always ask that question in an NPS. Like, how likely is it that you're going to recommend us to family and friends? Or how likely is that you recommend us to someone in the same situation? And then we don't utilize that point to asking for actual referrals and introductions. But it's I think we get to that in a second.
Yeah. I'm very, very intrigued to like learn more about your strategy as well, because referrals, like the easiest way of just like send a newsletter to all of your, or like an email campaign to all of your customers and then say, hey, how about a referral? What's your strategy to find the right people?
I think what you just said is funny, because I think that's the only way most companies do this, is like they build in a feature. Like I get this email from, was it Trade Republic recently? It's like, hey, by the way, recommend us to all your friends, and if someone signs up, you get like 15 euros. And I'm like, what do you think my network is worth, or like the work that I put in effort? And even if I'm satisfied, but that's a different story. Now, I think it's very important to see that if we want to get an introduction, or if we want to get a referral, it is something which is happening between people. So it is, of course, something which is based on our relationship. And if I want you, Helena, to make a referral to me, it is between the relationship that you have to the person that you're going to refer. And I think we should treat it this way. It's not something that we scale like cold email newsletters, or that we should even try to scale like that. In the end, we should consider I think Ines comes down, are we relevant? I think that's the most important. And then the question is, why are we asking? So am I asking you because, sorry, let's say that again. Am I asking you because I know you know someone that I want to speak to? Or am I asking you for the help? of being referred. And I think those two make a difference in the way of how we're asking. And then it's going down to how are we asking in the end. We can break that down in a second. But then in the end, when would you give the recommendation? It's when it's relevant to the person that you're making the intro to. Like, you're not doing this as a favor for me. You might if we're very good friends, but most important, you also care about your reputation. So you're going to ask yourself, why is this important to the person that you're making the intro to?
I guess with the question, who are we asking? The reason why the first thought is thinking about your customers is because they are using it. So they are the best. I wouldn't ask someone, how do you like the movie? Would you recommend that movie if that person hasn't seen the movie? You know? So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So because you mentioned at the beginning, like why you got to think about who to ask. Are there other options? Like, who else can I ask other than my customers?
Well, of course, because, and then we're coming back to that's what I'm saying, relationship is so important in this. But if we let's just look at the sales funnel. How many of your leads that you have, or like of the opportunities that you create, are actually going to end up in closed one? Like,
I,
what's the good percentage right now? Is that half? Is that a third? For some, it's just 10%. But let's say it's by 20 to 40%, which means there's 60 to 80% of people that might have a good buying experience that just ended being closed lost, and not a customer. Some of them maybe we are not a good fit for, which is totally fine. Some of them we are unqualifying after discovery, but send them elsewhere because they might be a better fit for what they actually need. Some of them never going to sign a deal for whatever reason, but still there might be a very good relationship to the people and a very good buying experience. So why not ask them for help? That's the one side. Also, let's look at the two of us. We don't have the same ICP. We work in kind of different fields, but still we have a good relationship. If you need an intro to a contact that I have, why wouldn't I do that? So also on the business side, there's so many people in different areas that have that work in different fields that will never become your customer that you can ask for help. So in particular, look at sales reps at other companies that sell to the same customer. Look at other SDRs. Look at from leadership to leadership. So there's multiple people that you can ask. And then in the personal side, the same. You have family, friends. You know so many people that have a network that has people that you want to speak to.
Yeah.
And what is important then is, of course, you don't know or you might not see our product in action, but you might know that this person has a problem. So if I want to speak to Mattia, for example, and I know you are very well connected to her, I might ask you, hey, Helena, so you're very well connected to Mattia. Do you mind introducing me? So, I don't know, post XYZ that she's looking for to solve challenge Y. I might be able to help her solve that, right? Or so it's just important that we phrase that about the person that we want to speak to and why it's important to her. And then there should not be a big challenge. And it's not necessarily saying that you're going to make the introduction right away. You might just go, hey, yeah, I'm going to check with her and come back to you, which is totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like with referrals, especially in the DACH market, because the DACH market is not really known to be the most warm, welcoming, easygoing, let's have a small talk by market, right? Do you feel like it is particularly difficult, or there are specific challenges in the DACH market that someone who isn't from the DACH market, who doesn't really know the culture that well and doesn't speak the language, they should be aware of before they start asking for referrals?
Not really. I think it is. I mean, I didn't sell to many other markets in like a larger volume, but what worked for me when I was trying to sell to people in the UK or to the US or get an introduction worked the same way that it works in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. So I don't see a challenge there. I think, as I said, it's just when you are polite and you are knowing the person that you're speaking to, I think that's something that might be a mistake because we just mass blast emails and we cannot send that many or should not send
Yeah.
referrals request at scale, we should make
Yeah.
it always personal.
Yeah.
So like we should always personalize sales messages and be relevant, and most people don't, but that's a different story. So it should be the same thing here.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you said one
But then I
thing that,
don't see it.
yeah, you said one thing that I also feel like, guys, just be aware of that. I am always confused if someone asks me for a referral when I don't know them. So if someone is like in my LinkedIn network, I've never met that person before. And maybe that's me just being German and I'm like, dude, what? And that it's not, I love helping people. It's not about that. It's like, I don't know your product. I don't want to waste my connection to someone that I know quite well, a good relationship that I have. When someone gets in touch with me and I don't know the product, I don't know the person, I don't trust the person because I don't know the person. So I feel like you did say that before in terms of like, make sure that you kind of know the person. So otherwise it's a bit weird, which I very much agree. And I have seen too often that people do that on LinkedIn that I would not feel comfortable referring them, to be completely honest with you.
100%. I feel the exact same way if I get an ask for a referral to someone I don't know. In that case, so the only chance you have is by making it most relevant for them or for the person that you want to speak to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no opportunity at all that this is ever going to happen. At least the way I feel about it.
Yeah. 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 That's a good point. I also feel like with all of this, because referrals were never part of my onboarding, like referrals were never really part of my training and sales. So it never really occurred to me until I think someone asked me if I would have referred them to someone. And I'm like, it's actually a good approach. Maybe I should use that. Or like close lost opportunities, I think is a great idea, guys. Think about all of these opportunities, 40 to 60% that you are losing out on because they would refer you somewhere because you genuinely have a great product. And if you don't, then maybe fix the product or change the company. But my point is, how can companies enable their sellers to be good in referrals? Like, how can they train them and make them aware of it and enable them to use that more? What do you think?
Well, I think the first thing is like anything that you address and that you monitor and that you put into the center of behavior is going to be done. I mean, everybody has seen this. Call numbers are down. What's the first thing that's happened in a sales meeting? We speak about call numbers and call activity and emails that are sent, etc. What happens? Numbers go up because people don't want to be addressed as, "Hey, you're not doing enough activity." So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is enabling them, and by enabling I mean we need knowledge gaps that have to be closed, like the how-to. It's like who can I ask, whom can I ask for, how do I ask, and when do I ask? What are the options there? We just spoke about a little bit of the who, that it's not just customers, but that there's a variety of people. Then it's about timing. There's so many different moments that we can ask. And there's so many more people that we haven't spoken about that we can ask, right? Think about investors, advisors, etc., that also have a mutual interest with your own company growth. And then, so I think it's addressing all those topics and then making it present, which means there's moments that you can ask for at like a, let's say, standard point, meaning whenever a customer has a moment of excitement, let's say, that you can actually track in a CRM system. Let's say after signature, you can ask. After an onboarding, when the customer first really sees the impact of the product in action. Those are things that you can actually set in your CRM system as a reminder. And then the other thing is there's moments that cannot be tracked. And that's why it's making it hard and difficult to really scale it, because like when someone asks for a discount in a negotiation and you want to get a referral for that, you can do that, but it's something where the seller has to be present in the moment and then say the right thing. And I think there's just not to focus on those. Like when there's a cold call where you feel, hey, it was a good cold call, but we're not the right fit for them. Or they say, hey, well, I'm not say, I see the benefit, but it's not for us because we have a
Yeah.
solution. Hey, if you see the benefit, who else is profiting from this? Like, who
Yeah.
do you have in mind? I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think those kind of moments then have to be practiced, and that's something that you only practice when you get reminded about or become reminded about later,
Yeah.
because yeah, you usually don't have it in the moment.
I think you brought up a very, very interesting point that I, for instance, never used. I usually, like in negotiation, if someone like asks about a discount in general, and I think that is kind of like that should be a universal rule. If someone asks for a discount, get something in return. You're a partner. You're on eye level. You don't have to give something for free. Get something in that can be signing on by a specific time. That can be a use case. And it can be a referral. And I think that's a really, really good point. I've never asked for referrals in my negotiations. I always made sure that they close in that time span, because then I hit my numbers, to be completely honest with you. And I obviously hit their time frame as well. So I love that point. Another thing that you mentioned with the tracking, and that's my question that I feel like nowadays, Chris, sales is just so overwhelming. There's so many softwares out there. Everything is AI. Everything is like, oh, you have to have at least, I think in the average, like 2 years ago, average sales touch points were 14 to 17. I feel like by now it's 130. You have to touch them on every specific corner in their online life. You need a TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, email, cold call, everything. Like, it's out of, like, I don't even know. You're supposed to send letters again. You're supposed to send postcards. You're supposed to give free coffees. There's so much out there. How do you make it more efficient? How do you keep referrals? Is there software that you can use to make it easier, to make it more scalable? Or is it genuinely manual that you actually have to send an email to everyone or call everyone that you had in your pipeline over the last 10 years? Well, how do you usually do it, and how do you recommend it to be more efficient?
Um, it's a good question. So I think referrals work so well because they're based on relationships and because they're personal, and it's actually why they stand out towards all the other stuff, right? Because you said it, our email accounts are full. Our LinkedIn is getting sent, is getting flooded by so much spam. And even if someone's calling me, not know the number, I always assume it's a sales rep. And I think for our customers, it's even worse, right? Um, Depending on the industry where they are. So the only thing where you can actually stand out is referrals.
Yeah.
And I think it is essential that we leverage human touch point, because when do I respond to things? When I know it's coming from someone that is already a trusted source. And you said you used the term trust. I think we have a trust crisis right now,
Mm-hmm.
because everything in my inbox is screaming at me, Chris, run. I want to sell something to you, right?
Yeah.
Um, and our customers are looking at the same way. And so I don't believe in sending a referral request to everybody.
Mm.
I believe in making a list of the people in your network that you're closest to that are willing to help you on the
Mm.
one side, and on the other side, making a list of customers that you have the best relationship to. And also here, think about the relationship, not about the potential. Just
Mm.
because you have a
Mm-hmm.
CRO who's
Yeah.
connected to 75 CROs doesn't mean he's going to make you the introduction,
Yeah.
right? But if there's one where you have a very good relationship with and maybe a couple of head of sales, that might be much more worse in this particular case, because they might know CROs that they can
Yeah.
introduce you to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So um, those are the things that I would personally start doing.
Yeah.
And then I would treat this as a personal interaction and not as a transaction. That is most important. So I would also try to make the conversation as personal as possible, which means ideally I do this on a phone call or in a video call. Best is in person, but
Mm.
most often we don't have the opportunity nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make time for it in a video meeting, for example, and say, hey, there's one more important thing that I would like to discuss. Don't plan like 2 minutes at the end that usually you never get to. Plan time accordingly, like 10 minutes, and then tell them, hey, you know, as you can imagine, as it's super hard for new companies to get in touch with you, it's also very hard for us. Um, um, and as a satisfied customer, because you might have asked for feedback before, it would be super helpful if you're willing to recommend us to other prospects who feel who might have the same pain. So people
Yeah.
in your position, right? They might always say, yes, sure. And then the most important is not to stop here, but to explain who you want to speak to
Yeah.
and how you help them and how that problem shows up in their world. So meaning know your ICP. Otherwise, they'll say, yeah, sure, I think about it, and they never get back to you.
Yeah.
Once you explain who you want to speak to, they might be able to connect their thoughts in their minds like, hey, actually, there is someone, this person or this person, then you're able to qualify and get some more information. And the other thing is in that moment, which is the most important, you might be able to look into their network and see who they are connected to and ask for specific introductions to specific people. And then it's comparably easy because you can do your research. You can send them a message like, hey, I so connected your person XYZ. I would like to speak to him because of problem ABC that they might be facing. Might introducing me or mind if I say hi? And that way you're already pretty much in touch. And when you send an email, last sentence to that, which is called best regards from Helena, the response rate on that email is at 90%. Everybody's going to read that email if you have a good relationship with them. Doesn't necessarily say that you get the meeting because you still have to be relevant.
Yeah.
And yes, it requires a lot of research to understand who you are connected to if I'm going to ask you. But if we personalize, I don't know, 25 steps in our outreach cadence, we might rather spend 30 minutes into building meaningful relationships and asking for referrals.
Yeah. You said those three steps that I wrote down. It's like make it personal, make time, so make sure that you appreciate the other one's time as well. It's just like, oh, by the way, it's like, hey, can we discuss this real quickly as well? And like make it clear to whom you want to speak, which I think is a very good point, because the first thought that I had when you were speaking about it was, well, if I say, hey, would you refer me? I expect the person to forget about it. But if I say, hey, would you refer me to a head of sales that, has similar things, you make the other person already think about someone. Like think about, oh, actually, John from John Inc., whatever, he's probably interested. So yeah, I'm gonna do him a favor. I love that. Yeah, that's a very simple way of doing it. Is there a win rate? Like, because you mentioned a couple of numbers now, and I'm always interested in data. Is there an overall win rate of, hey, 5 out of 5 or like 5 out of 10? How's it going?
I don't have exact numbers ready right now, so can't give them to you at this point, but I know numbers are higher. So win rate is higher, ticket size is higher, sales velocity is shorter, so deals close faster and I have bigger ticket size. Why? Because you're coming from a trusted source, there's less negotiation involved. Someone else did it already. How can they be wrong, right? So there's less piloting and proof of concepts overall. But so I think if I remember correctly, the average lifetime value is like 17 to 20%, somewhat in between, higher. So yeah, the numbers go up.
Okay, cool. Super, super interesting. I guess the way I understand it is, if I want to ask for a referral, the first thing I do is I make a list of the people that I could ask for a referral. They could be my customers, that could be the closed lost deals, that could be family and friends, that could be sales reps in other companies selling towards the same ICP. And then from there, go down to make it personal, make sure that you appreciate their time, you appreciate your time as well, and make sure that you make it clear, like make clear to whom you want to speak. What are like common challenges? What are reasons not to get a referral for a seller? And what should they do to overcome that?
I think the biggest mistake is that we probably just ask once. So we make a point like, hey, would you recommend me? Or would you make a referral? Sure. and then we never speak to them again. And also, if there is someone, I think we often leave it like that instead of being making it as easy as possible for them to make the introduction, which means if you want to make an introduction to someone, it's my responsibility to make it as easy as possible for you, which means I'm going to write text for you that you can of course adapt in your own wording, but you can send that to someone, put me in CC, and I can of course respond to that and then make it easy for the other person to connect to me as well. So I would say it's probably the biggest mistake is probably only asking once. The second one is not being precise, and then there is not too many mistakes that you can actually make. And it's like the biggest mistake is not asking at all.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we spoke about that, like 90% don't do it.
Yeah. The 91-11 rule. I kind of like that.
Yes.
I kind of like that. I guess I am coming to my final questions. If I'm out there right now, actually two questions. The first one, I know I already asked about the software, but I also know that sellers, they have so many softwares out there that they have to tackle, from Cadence to email to Koga, blah, 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 blah. Is there a specific software that you do recommend, maybe even in a CRM, or a specific rule that you follow when you do the referrals? Because I already know I would
Yeah.
forget. I would forget to ask again because I'm talking to so many people, you know?
I mean, yes, a CRM system is probably wherever you keep your track of your tasks is probably some where you should monitor.
Yeah.
I think that's important. What I also monitor in a CRM system is information about people that you might know. So, for example, if I know you are connected and organized in an organization of other entrepreneurs, I might keep track of that or make the notification that I can get back to that. Hey, by the way, you're in this organization or in this think tank, or you want to call that. Or I like to ask the question, who you evaluate a solution with, who you're going to speak to about those challenges that you have. How do those challenges that you have show up in other people's world that you know? So that way you get information. That's the one thing. The second is, yes, there's software that helps you kind of keep track of relationships or see how relationships work, like Comso or so. I think in Germany at least that is not that very well rooted yet. There's not too many people using it. In the end, what I recommend definitely using a sales navigator, because where you want to get to is a point where you see, so if you want to make it, if you are willing to refer me, and I know there's one person that you might know because you went to the same university or you were in a webinar or had a panel talk together, right? So I have to put in some research. I might know who else do you know. And it is very common that you have a bunch more than just 2, 3 people within my ICP in your contacts. And it's also very common that you don't really know them on LinkedIn. So Sales Navigator is a good source of helping you figure out who you actually know and to which extent you know this person. And even to see who you're connected to.
Yeah, amazing. I genuinely feel like as personal this world wanted to be, there are also as many softwares that can help you. So making sure that you use it wisely, use it efficiently. Chris, we've covered a lot. My final question for everyone, because I want to make sure that whoever listens to this podcast can go out right now and get the first referral deals in and close them ASAP. What would you say are the 3 exercises, tasks that everyone can do today to change their referral game?
I mean, the first one is doing it. So we spoke about that. I think it's the most important. When you're willing to do that, then I would sit down and think, who are the people most likely able to help me? And I would make a list of those. We spoke about that. The second thing is you can also make a list of people that you want to speak to. Who is your ICP? Who is the person that you actually want to get in touch with? And take a look at mutual connections that you have to those people. Can be internal, can be external, can be former employees. And on the other side, schedule a call with the people that are able to help you. And schedule a call with people that are able to help you get introductions to other people that are most likely willing to refer you. So if you do those things, then you already have the best foundation to get started. And then all I would do is really sit down, write a little script. What do I want from them? How can they actually help me? I mean, we covered it from the content, right? In the end, it has to be authentic. It has to be you. And then you just have to go and execute and ask for help. And you will be surprised. Most people are going to say yes. I take a bet personally that nobody is going to say no.
What if you lose? Can someone book a meeting with you?
I mean, no, to be honest, like if someone struggles and gets like negative feedback or is curious to learn more, just reach out on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to help and also to understand why things didn't work out, but it just didn't happen. It might happen that someone says yes, but you don't hear back from them. But that's like the really worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You heard it, guys. You heard it. You're going to find his LinkedIn link in the notes, Christoph Karger. He will take a call with you. He will help you. And also the masterclass. It was such a joy watching you. Like, I love how passionate you are about this topic as well. And I certainly have learned a lot. Thank you so much, Chris. It was such a joy to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I think the masterclass has all my thoughts, just much more structured and well organized. So yes, no, thank you for the invitation. It was a lot of fun.